Hi, and welcome to this lesson on the installation of your palletizing solution. The Robotiq Paletleme Solution is an easy-to-integrate cobot application solution. Simply add a UR10 Universal Robot's arm and you are ready to go. This video describes how to move the unit to its final location, how to install each component of the kit, and how to secure the solution with concrete anchors. Please watch the previous video for the uncrating procedure. To move this unit to its final location, you can either use a forklift or mount the casters provided with the solution. Please refer to the product manual to confirm your floor is compatible with the anchoring procedure. Once the unit is at its final location, remove the cover on the base to reveal the right and left pallet sensor cables. You will also find right and left pallet sensor cables at the bottom of the linear axis. Connect both pairs of cables according to their identification. Then mount the robot on its dedicated plate on the linear axis and make sure that the robot cable exit is closest to the column. It is important to place the robot in the right orientation on its base. Run the robot cable through the cable management channel and insert it into the column. Pull it out through the hole above the linear axis controller. Tuck the remaining cable length back into the column. Remove the 4 screws at the top of the linear axis controller. Attach the Universal Robot's controller on top of the linear axis controller. Then, connect the robot cable to the Universal Robot's controller. Connect the robot teach pendant. Connect the linear axis controller to a power outlet using the power cable provided with the robot controller. Use the second power cable on top of the linear axis controller to power the robot controller. Turn on the linear axis controller and the robot. Do not operate the palletizing solution at full speed before the device is firmly anchored and the machine area is clear. The next step is to center the linear axis on its base. To do so, start by unscrewing the 4 screws that secure the column onto the base by half a turn. Then, turn the robot and linear axis assembly counterclockwise. Set the robot TCP directly on the tool flange and move the wrist to the left of the unit's base like this. Go to the Move section and change the feature reference to base. Modify the X value of the tool position to 333 millimeters. Turn the column clockwise so that the side of the robot wrist touches the side of the base. You can now tighten the 4 screws to secure the column onto the base. A torque of 50 Newton meters is recommended. Power on the robot and rotate the joints as shown here. If additional reach is needed, install the extra reach gripper bracket on the robot tool flange using 4 M6 screws and tooth lock washers. Install the bracket only if necessary. Consult the configurator to find out if it is needed in your case. Available at designer.suite.robotiq.com. Using 4 M6 screws and tooth lock washers, secure the coupling on the robot tool flange or on the extra reach gripper bracket. Mount the vacuum gripper on the gripper coupling. Align with the dowel pin. Secure by inserting the M5 screws and tooth lock washers. If the 2 or 4 suction cups bracket is needed, align the flat surface on the manifold with the shoulder of the vacuum generator. Secure the manifold by inserting screws and tooth lock washers in a cross pattern to properly compress the O-ring of the generator. Insert each suction cup with an O-ring into an air node. Tighten cups by hands. Attach the cable routing system onto the robot, as shown here. Using a 5mm hex key, secure the elbow collar assembly, large collar, to the arm. Observe the orientation and distance from the elbow, D2. Clip the elbow collar assembly mounting bracket on the sticker of the cable carrier. Using a 5mm hex key, secure the wrist collar assembly, smaller collar, to the arm. Observe the orientation and distance from the wrist, D1. If you use the extra reach bracket, run the coupling cable through the second hole of the bracket. Connect the coupling cable to the connector visible at the end of the cable carrier. Install the IGUS R-lock at the extremity of the cable carrier. It will ensure the good functionality of the cable management. Click the wrist collar assembly mounting bracket on the sticker of the cable carrier. Use tie wraps to tie the tubing and cable to the strain relief part of the mounting bracket. Cut the air tube from the plastic strain relief at the right length, 815mm or 32 inches. Connect the 8mm air tube to the vacuum generator. Ensure the safety clip is properly installed. Use the spiral cable sleeve to keep the air tube and the coupling cable together. Plug the other extremity of the air tube into your local air supply devices. The maximum pressure allowed is 7 bar or 100 psi. The recommended pressure is 7 bar or 100 psi. Install the small cover on the side of the column with the provided screws. You have to shut down the robot before starting the intercontroller and safety signal connections. The next step is to establish communication between both controllers. Connect the provided USB hub to a USB port of the robot controller. Connect the USB Ethernet adapter to a USB port on the robot controller. Then, connect the provided Ethernet cable to the adapter. The other end of the cable should be connected to the Ethernet port on top of the linear axis controller. It's time to connect your safety device to the solution. Start by running the safety signals cable through the opening under the robot controller and connect the cables in the UR controller. take note of which configurable outputs wires, 3 and 4, are connected to. The white wire is the safety reset. Plug it according to the information provided in the product manual. Connect the signal cables of your safety devices to the black connector of the safety signals cable. Depending on your application, such devices can include light curtains, safety scanners, and safety interlock switches. Please refer to the safety documentation for more information. Attach the white, green, and bare wires from the AirPick cable to the RS485 converter as shown here. Then attach the red and black wires respectively to the 24-volt and 0-volt terminals on the Universal Robot's terminal blocks. Connect the Copilot license dongle and the converter to the hub. You can now add the box sensor to the conveyor. Select the bracket that best corresponds to your setup and install the sensor so that it can detect a box at the picking position. Then insert the other end of the sensor cable into the column and route it through the base. Connect the cable to the sensor. Take the sensor cable inside the robot controller and connect the brown wire to a 24-volt terminal, the blue wire to a 0-volt terminal, and the black wire to an available digital input terminal. Before anchoring the solution at its final position, make sure that the robot arm can reach the picking position. Move the robot slowly in manual mode to validate the reach. Do not run any program until the solution is firmly anchored. You can now secure the palletizing solution using the provided anchors. Start by marking the drilling spots according to the holes on the base plate. Drill the 6 holes with the provided concrete drill bit and insert the anchors. Make sure the unit is level before tightening the nuts. If needed, insert shims between the floor and the support brackets through which pass the anchors. Once all components are wired to the robot controller, put back the cover on the base of the palletizing solution. On the Teach Pendants interface, go to the Installation tab. Select I/O from the Safety drop-down menu. Assign System Emergency Stopped to the proper output signal based on the configurable outputs to which wires 3 and 4 are connected. The last step is to install the AirPick and Copilot UR caps to your robot. You can download both in the support section of Robotiq's website. You are now ready to start palletizing. The linear axis can now move up and down in the UR cap interface. Watch the next videos to learn how to program your palletizing application in 4 easy steps. The Robotiq Palletizing Solution, when simplicity meets flexibility.